What is going on, everybody? It is week 12, 2025. That's right. Going into March 17th tomorrow. Looking at an awesome New York City 13.1 recap. We had 4 ladies, 4 coached athletes take to that course today. All of them met their goals, had exceptional races, and I just want to give a shout out to them. Welcome back here again. This is a recap for my coached athletes, but as well, I like to keep this public most of the time to see if any tips and tricks can spill their way to you so we can help out as many people as we can. So here we go, New York City. It's in the books. Pretty decent weather day. It was a little warmer than it's been. A little foggy this morning, a little humid, but they all stepped up to the line with pacing plans, crushed them, got it done. PR had by one of them, and a few of them just progressing from where we wanted to have them at for this point of the year. So congratulations to you. Your work this early in the year is paying off already. Those were some of the most consistent runners that we have in the group that all stepped up to that line this morning. So congratulations to that. You're going to have a good year, everybody. And a few things, again, a couple notes. That's what this video is all about, is during the week, I just write down notes, things, topics, things I hear, important things that I think might just benefit you during the week. Interesting conversations I've had with people, little antidotes that I'll pull out of those conversations and put them in a little notepad here, and then just kind of go through them for 10 or 15 minutes. Let's talk about the sessions when you're out there and you're down, you're stressed out, lots going on in life. And I mentioned this in a lot of videos, but if we have an intentionality for the day, right? We have a purpose for the workout, whatever it is, tempo run, interval work, something going on. And you're looking at that workout the night before or the morning of, and you're just not feeling it. You're just tired. You're kind of like nervous that you're not going to hit your paces and your splits and all this stuff. It's fine. I would rather somebody make the smart decision to say, you know what, I'm just not mentally and physically ready for that workout today, for whatever the reasons are, whether it's training fatigue, life fatigue, or anything like that. Just go out and do it easy. And, at least if you have the ability, don't ever force anything. But if you have the ability, just get out there and get it done, get a nice aerobic session in. Even if you have to cut it short time-wise. But most of the time, a lot of the times, in the morning when I'm just like, didn't really want to get going. The hardest part is getting going. Trust me on that. If you've been in the game long enough here, this endurance world, you'll learn that. If you're newer to it, it's natural, it's normal. There will be days when you're just like, I ain't feeling it. I implore you just to get out there, get the feet moving, whether it's swimming, biking, running, whatever it is, just start the activity. I can probably assure you most of the time, and it's just a normal feeling, that you'll just feel better when you're getting started. And not to mention, you'll feel that much better when it's done. You'll have even more of a sense of accomplishment for the day because you did something that kind of weren't feeling like you wanted to do for the day. So just remember to keep that in the back of your head, that it's a normal feeling. And please, by all means, just one foot in front of the other, get out there and get it done. As far as workouts, and this can go for anybody, not just a coach athlete, if you're following a training plan, a training program, a self-guided plan, something you downloaded from the internet, or if we're one-to-one and you have a calendar built out and you see a workout for the day. I always say, there's a title mostly to each workout, and through just changing plans, modifying workouts. Sometimes if I modify the workout or add or take away an interval based off of the work you did for the following week, it may not carry over and the description may not change. So something may say, for instance, just call it 6x400 intervals, and you're just used to a track workout like that, and you're like, all right, so it's probably going to be a warm-up, there's probably going to be 6x400 intervals, there'll be a rest portion, my watch is going to beep, but I'm just going to follow it. But again, just before that workout, typically the day before at least, just prep that workout. Go into the plan. You're going to be on Training Peaks. Open up the workout and don't just read the description or the notes from it. Look at the actual physical workout. If the workout is built like it's a loaded workout that's going to go on your watch, read through it and understand what the steps are. It's probably going to say warm up, 10 minutes, X zone pace, X heart rate zone, whatever it is. Then it's going to say repeat 5 times, 400 meters at X pace, resting interval at certain time. Now your watch, it's going to read through all this on your watch, and it's not things you have to be concerned about, but just read through and make sure that the workout is you understand it. Maybe we added some max effort sprints at the end of it. We kind of just snuck it in there, but it didn't say it in the description. So while you're out there, the last thing you want to do is get to the end of your fourth or fifth or sixth 400, whatever it was, think you're good going into a cool down. Now it's going to give you maybe 2 extra 200-meter intervals to give you a little extra intensity for the day. So just look at what the actual stages are that are going to load onto your watch. And if you have any questions with any of that portion of it, because that's how it's going to load on your workout, by all means reach out and ask. But it's just a double checks and balances system. Things aren't always just, again, because I'm modifying these workouts, I'm taking workouts, I'm modifying them specifically for you. I mean, I might be shortening them based on the amount of time, because some of these workouts are time based. So what I can accomplish in an hour distance wise may be a little different than somebody else. So if that workout per se was by distance, I may want to limit the distance if something like that, if that kind of makes sense. And it just may not carry over to the title, the description of that. I'm working through the laundry list of workouts in Training Peaks and trying to clean some things up, make things a little bit, and that's just part of one of the processes that I go through as a coach, is to continually improve, not just make something, have it there and say, oh, when athletes come on board, I'm just going to spit this stuff at them. I'm always year after year, especially as athletes go through. Again, a bunch of athletes just went through a 13.1 plan specifically for New York City. A lot of them are doing Brooklyn half coming up, and they're going to go through. And I went back to the templates for these 13.1s and modified things as I saw going through, because just like I do with my athletic journey is what I like to do through my coaching journey, is always just brushing up, cleaning up processes, cleaning up the big blocks of things, making things run smoother, more efficiently, and be more understood. So you can probably notice some of the coached athletes that have been on board for a couple seasons now is, as these workouts are loading into your calendar month after month, week after week, or training plan after training plan, depending on what kind of race you're going through, is you will see they're modified a little different, because we've all adapted together. I've gotten a lot of field experience now and a lot of data back from these athletes doing these workouts on what does work, what makes more sense to do for certain people. Whether, one of the next points is going to be data, accurate data here. And if I notice that an athlete is not giving me accurate heart rate data, well, now I can't really go by heart rate for some of your training, because if you're having erratic results because you're not using an external sensor or something like that, and we've been through the conversation, you're just like, I ain't wearing it, then I'll have to go by other means, and we'll have to do some things by pace and kind of generalize and things like that. But that also goes into the other part of, especially with endurance, what are we doing with endurance training, right? We're training aerobically, our heart, what our heart does tells so much about what type of effort we're putting out, what we're capable of performing on race day. And it's very important, especially the way things in technology have changed now, as far as sensors, heart rate straps. There's heart rate monitors now that go around your arm, which are a lot more comfortable than the chest straps, especially for the women. And I just can't tell you enough how important that heart rate data, especially if it's a key session or a race or a key race or a key smaller race, that's going to give us so much data and information for the bigger race that you're training for, and we don't get the accurate data that we need. It's very hard for me to come up with a very, I guess you would say, aggressive pacing plan that, that I know you can still accomplish. But if we're going for max efforts here, like 13.1, like I put my 13.1 plan together for my next race, and it's skirting my max potential. But when I started putting in the percentages of zones and paces and heart rate, it's getting close to a breaking point there. And when we're at that threshold there, that's different than a newer runner, where we're kind of just like, hey, get out there, train to a 13.1, go finish it, set the standard. We have a time now, and then we start chipping away at the block and see where we can go, getting to your potential. So the more we're digging down that hole now to see what your potential is, that data has to be coming back very accurately, because even just a couple beats per minute over a prolonged period of time could have you potentially in that threshold zone too long, too early in the race, and that's going to create a damaging situation for that final portion of the race, which wasn't the case this weekend in New York City, because I just want to shout out the 4 runners ran faster second halves of their race than first halves. We just amazing progression, watching the heart rate build through the 13.1 instead of the inevitable out too hard, heart rate spikes, we're in the danger zone, and then it starts climbing off and pace starts dropping off after that. So again, awesome to those that were out there getting it done. So that's my little stint again, and my little reminder about heart rate and data and why that's important. And it's just very important to get data in accurately, even as you look back on training peaks, and when we look at certain other values such as pace or even treadmill workouts where the pace data isn't coming in sometimes the most accurate. It's good to clean that stuff up as it comes in, and that may, the more familiar you can get with training peaks and that software as well, is the more that you can kind of keep tabs on some of that stuff as well. I notice when I run treadmills, it's just, it doesn't correlate the same, even when I calibrate it to outdoors, just even the RPE, the efforts aren't there. It's just not the same. So if we're looking for real world race data, although we can still get great training because it's so controlled on a treadmill, sometimes the data doesn't spill over like that. Same as using some of these stationary bikes, spin bikes that do display power. It's not going to be the same power per se as the power meter on your bike or your individual trainer. So if you are loading those things in as well, those are things when I look back at, hey, how's the athlete's best 60-minute power, 20-minute power over the last 90 days, and I see some anomalies in there, I can usually tell right away that was probably a treadmill run. This was probably some sort of stationary bike with another power sensor, and I can usually filter some of that out, and I'll just wind up deleting things as you go. So that's just another side thing on there on why, data is very important. Speaking of data as well, there's another data point, literally, is just having a conversation with an athlete tonight, and the topic of HRV came up. And for me, I wear my Garmin all the time. I'm guided by the data. I'm not ruled by the data. It's just, again, a good thing to have data rolling in that, especially not just metrics like what's your heart rate and pace for all these things, but recovery. I really think one of those big blocks for endurance is recovery, and you need to be as intentional with your recovery and your support around your training as you are about your training. If you can level both of those up and have both of those just as important as each other, you'll be even more successful in sport, just because you are balancing it all, and what goes in comes out. So whatever stress you put in, you have to get that stress relieved out of your body before that next activity. And a good way to track all that is with the wearable. There's so many accurate wearables now. I would say the wearables for that type of stuff, like sensor coming straight from your wrist, is definitely going to be more accurate when you're not active at activity. Because when you start running, sweating, biking, the heart rate sensor on here can be accurate sometimes, but it's never going to be 100% as accurate as an external monitor. But when we're sleeping and it's tracking your resting heart rate, HRV trends are very awesome to check. Don't worry about HRV if you're going to talk to your friend and show each other, your Garmin Connect or anything like that. Don't worry about the actual HRV number, even your resting heart rate. Don't compare, how does this person have a 39 resting heart rate and mine's only 55? There's big differences that will be why that is, and that's a whole nother separate conversation. Just know that a lot of it is individualized to you, but the good thing that you can track with those numbers for yourself is trends. You'll find out about what your resting average heart rate is average-wise during a training cycle. When you see it fluctuate away from that, it could indicate a few things. It could indicate a little bit more fatigue that you're carrying. Same as HRV. Don't worry about what that number specifically is. Don't look up, Google, is this a good HRV number? Because you'll get crazy results to drive yourself nuts. Worry about the trend over time. If you're holding a decent average and it's within a certain range, you're balancing your stress and your health pretty well. When you start to see things start to dip a little bit or start trending down, it could mean a number of factors. I've noticed my trends dip for a week or two at a time when you may be sick, overly stressed due to some external stressor in life, stress from training or racing. Typically after one of my A races, I will see it dip for a few days just because your body is repairing itself. There's a lot of processes going on, especially what happens when you sleep. That's your recovery. That's your processes that your body's doing to recover. So it's going to take some time. It's going to fluctuate a lot. And that's just going to be a high level of fatigue. So it's going to register off. You're not in this just steady state, training, recovery through it. Like you had a big amount of stress induced on the body, just like a sickness comes over you. So follow those trends. And if you feel like, well, I feel good and my training's all right, but I don't know why my HRV trend is going down, zoom out, look at the big picture, look at sleep amount, sleep quality, diet, food. Like something's probably lacking there. Just stress, your environmental stress of family, life, job, and all that other stuff. Again, there's no winning answer on how to deal with all that. And I wish I had that answer for you, but it's something that we need to do and control, especially if we're putting controlled stress on our body. So we really need to find that balance with everything like that. So those are fun trends to track. And that's something where you basically have to wear your watch 24 hours a day. If you're just somebody who kind of throws it on activity to activity, forgets to wear it sometimes, you charge it at night and then you don't put it on for 2 days because you had a rest day. Like it has to be something that we're wearing every night if you want to worry about some of those metrics and things like that. And then the last part of this week is what you're not changing, you're choosing. That's the quote that I heard this week, and that was an interesting one. And really what that is, if you're not changing your sleep pattern, you're not changing your diet, you're choosing then to have that sleep pattern. You're choosing to have that diet pattern. So if there's things out there that you want to change or go forward with or fix the big blocks that I always talk about in endurance, if you're not fixing those or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in those aspects, you're choosing that. There's no other way around it is besides that it's your choice to stay that way and not fix those things. So what you're not changing, you're choosing. And I thought that was a pretty cool quote to end the day here. So week 12, we're getting after it. I wish this weather, I keep saying the weather's here, and then the weather turns to crap. It's going to be a nice storm tonight, apparently, around here. So for everybody this week, keep getting after it. Congrats again to every New York City 13.1 runners out there. And as well, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you all next time.